This is a beautiful, although slightly breezy Clipston Quarter, but I'm not staying in Clipston Quarter today. I'm going up that way, up to Broad Drive, onto the edge of the Sherwood Forest Country Park. May well call in at several areas within the country park. I'm after a male today. Now, to help me in my quest to find this male moth, I've had to bring some equipment with me. I have bought the trusty camera today, after some fresh photos, and at long last I've brought my faithful assistant out with me. Annette never lets me down. I still wish I could find a glamorous assistant. Apparently the work permit's not come through yet. The government's not released her. In the meantime, I have to carry all this myself. But there's one extra little item that I need to help me with my quest, and it's in my pocket. Deep in my pocket. Who knows what I'm going to pull out. It's these. Not drugs, you're alright. These are two artificial pheromone lures. Today I'm using the sus lure and the fun lure. The fun lure in itself makes this task seem somewhat dubious. But although not specifically designed to attract my quarry of Pammene giganteana, it has been attracted to one of these lures. I think it was the fun lure, and that was only last week or so. So it's a case of walking up into the country park now, find somewhere to settle down and leave the lures out for half an hour. If no moth appears, we move on to another site. And that's going to be the theme for this video. Well, this is a section of Clipston Quarter that I've not showed you before. I'll put a photo in here and show you exactly where I am. This is, or was, what we used to refer to as Section E of our glowworm survey area. This runs all the way down through that little hollow and up, and eventually joins up with S, Section S, which goes off to the left. And if you carry on straight down, it takes you to Broad Drive. Now, at one time of day, where I'm surrounded now was all pines. They were taken out a number of years ago, and there's a few sort of ancient oaks tucked away on the left hand side. There's a couple further up there, but it's a good area now for orange underwing. But it was funny, from where I'm stood now and to the dip that you could see there where the pines used to be, we never recorded glowworms once. But after where the pines ended and going up the hill, we had some good counts of glowworms up there, especially where it was shaded beneath some oaks. That's where I'm going to try first for Pammene giganteana. So I'd best get a move on, hadn't I? And here's one of the old ancients, long since dead, but it's quite a fantastic structure. All of these oaks are, there's no getting away. The Sherwood Forest's ancient oaks are absolutely marvellous things. Even when they're dead, they're so useful to many invertebrates. But what I particularly like about them is their sort of statue-like quality, and the rise above everything else. Since the removal of the pines, it's all this birch regrowth, and you see these birch at about 15 to 20 feet tall, then rising out from the top of the birches are these magnificent old oaks. Quite sculpture-like. A photographer's dream. Right, that's the first lure in place. Now it's a case of sitting down and wait. Well, I've given it the allotted time. No sign of moth. But this is a quick shot of the area that I've just been trying in. It's only a couple of 100 yards away from all the mature ancients of the country park, and that's where we're off to next. Maybe this species isn't as wide ranging in the NNR as I thought it might be. So it's time to pack the lure up and march off to the left. Well, Wheezy Wander to the left. Now before I move on, just wanted to show you this, because this is a beautiful example. It's almost like God's graffiti. These are the leaf mines of a stigmella. Now normally I would say straight away it's Stigmella aurella, but Stigmella aurella is now, although once thought to be one species, is now thought to be numerous subspecies, and work is going on into that. But looking at the length of these mines, they're both extremely long, which makes me think that these might be Stigmella splendidissimella. Now there's a name for you to practice. I just hope you've not got a bit of an arkwright gait to your speech, otherwise it would take some saying. But the mines start at the very narrowest part. If I just use a stick or something, look, there's the start of one mine that goes up and around and down, and here's at the end of this leaf is the other start, which works its way up and round and round. Now Stigmella splendidissimella does make long gallery mines, but Stigmella aurella, the mines turn this silvery white through age. I thought it just looked quite stunning, just on this little tiny piece of bramble, look, on the forest floor. Nature's wonderful, you know. Right, well, I've moved up and round, and I'm not far off the map of Britain. And on the two trees on the left here, just left of centre, I've got two lures out. I've got the fun lure on the nearest tree and the sus lure on the tree just behind it. Different habitat. The oaks here are all younger, although it is predominantly silver birch in this section, and this section's all due to be thinned, which wouldn't go amiss at this stage, I must admit. So we'll see if we can attract one of these moths times 1222. We may well have better success actually in amongst the ancients, but if you don't try different things, you don't find out and you don't learn. This is another nice quiet spot in Sherwood Forest, especially on a weekday like this. You may well get a bit more traffic on the weekends. All the while I've been up here though, today or this morning, I've not seen a soul yet. Right, next plan of attack. This is Broad Drive behind me. I'm now at what's known locally as 5 Ways, which as you may well have worked out, means the meeting of 5 paths. I'm going to try just over here in my quest for this little moth. Conditions are absolutely lovely now. Little bit of cloud, little bit of breeze. Got to get one sometime. Right, we're a bit more into the forest now. All mature oaks in this area. This is going to be the kind of habitat that to sampling. It may well be that conditions just aren't quite right. I mean, the sun's gone in at the moment, but these moths should be flying. If you fly in March, you're not going to be a species that relies on hot sunny conditions. So we'll give it half an hour here and see what happens. And I've not just put this here. This is a yellow-horned moth, sat out in the open right on top of a fence post. So I thought, while it's daylight, you can see a proper one. First time I've ever found one in daylight. Never seen one on the trunks of trees. And this just seems a very strange place for one to be, but beautifully marked moth. There's an element of sort of olive green coloration to it. Might not show up on the camera. Well, that's a surprise find. There's a big flock of birds chattering away over there. I noticed the other day that there's a large build-up of redwings, which is something you always get in this area, sort of late March and into early April. Numbers build up here in the western part of the country park and also at Clipston Old Quarter. They'll feed up on any remaining holly berries, and of course the forest floor is full of invertebrates. That's the fuel that they need to fly across the North Sea. Not used this contraption for a while, probably with good reason. I'm continuing my little wander through Sherwood Forest, failing miserably to attract a male Pammene giganteana. Time to cut through, get onto Broad Drive, I think. There'll be a loud clatter in a minute. And this actually, where I am now, if we just look, this is the very spot where we first trapped Pammene giganteana to MB light in 2011, 11 years ago. And the fence posts where I've recorded the 2 yellow-horned, that was, or one of those posts was the site of the last time I saw it, which was only the second time. We've got a bit more sun now. I've been losing the sun. Hang on, let's give you a change of scenery. There, that's better. So, this is Broad Drive. That's Broad Drive looking the other way. Not so many people on this bit. So, I'll try another couple of sites, want somewhere sheltered from this annoying breeze. I might have to be further up towards the centre tree. Still, not a bad day really. Not much in the way of insects. I've seen one orange underwing which flew up annoyingly from the side of me. Change of scenery. The mosses up this side here are looking fantastic. I'll show you what I mean in a second. It chucked it down with rain all day yesterday, well, the best part of yesterday afternoon onwards. But, look at that moss. Beautiful. I do like a good moss. Right, while I continue to wheeze my way up Broad Drive, staring at the public in front of me, I'll let you go and make a cup of tea. There's a little moth that I found, and this is a macro moth, one of the larger moths, and it's an engrailed. It's a rather sort of washed out individual, this one, but it is actually extremely fresh. They're just hatching out, and indeed this is the first one of the year for me. It's an attractively marked moth, rarely particularly contrasting. There's a couple of sort of darker marks on the forewings, a couple of sort of dark flecks in the centre of the wings, and then some more flecks towards the wing tip. It's quite an easy species to identify. There's little else to mix any identification up with at this time of year. And it certainly flies in 2 broods. I think in favourable years there could be 3. It's a common species, one that you'll regularly get at light, trapping from sort of mid-March onwards. Often found like this on the trunks of trees. It's a while since I found one in such a situation. Nice to see one again. Not seen many the last few years. Well, this little sojourn into the forest has proved unsuccessful. We're coming up to, well, 2:15. 14-15 hours if you want it decimalised. No joy. It has been breezy though, and that breeze is quite cool. Wondering whether it's just down to that. In the meantime, I suppose I'm going to have to struggle and stay here for another 5-10 minutes. I've got the lure just here. I'm up near the centre tree under my favourite Napoleonic oaks. I love this spot. Hopefully one might drop in. But I've seen some moths anyway. Yellow horned was nice, 2 of them. Engrailed, that's a new one for you. It's just the start of a year of discovery. In the meantime, I'm going to sit here for 10 minutes amongst my friends. I just started to walk down Clipston Quarter, and on this birch stump that's been freshly cut, there's a succession of honeybees that are coming to drink the sweet sap that's rising on this cut birch stump. Honeybees go mad for it. Obviously some has run down onto the moss growing on the side of the trunk, but there were 3 here when I just pulled up alongside it. Birch water, as it's known, is drinkable, and it can be harvested as well by sort of drilling in to a birch trunk, putting a tap in, and then hanging a container underneath that tap and collecting the birch water that comes out. I've drunk it, no problem at all. And here's another one, look, and these are honeybees from the centre tree, the colony that's in the centre tree. You see, even when birch is cut, it still has fantastic use and importance for invertebrates in the spring. It certainly helps the decline in honeybee in Sherwood. I'll leave them to have their little drink.